Well, thank you for having me. Coming from a small business family, I know well the trials and tribulations that many people face when starting a business. And for many years working on the ground with other business owners, this conference is so interesting to me, and the goals are quite lofty. And it took a while to think, when asked what was our grand idea on how entrepreneurship could help return our economy to full employment. I mean, that's a very lofty goal. And when trying to examine what I would recommend, I really wanted to look at the reasons why people enter entrepreneurship. And based on what I've learned through our association, I've seen three types of entrepreneurs pop up. We see the intentional entrepreneurs, people who aggressively, actively go out and seek to start a business. We quite often see the accidental or casual entrepreneurs, people who fall into it, whether they come up upon retirement but don't necessarily want to retire, don't have a particular career option at the present moment, or a big example is people in professional services, doctors, dentists, accountants. They characterize themselves as that trade. I'm a doctor, I'm a dentist, yet very often they're also an entrepreneur. And then, of course, we have, especially in economic times like these, quite a large number of what we call necessity entrepreneurs, people who have been pushed into entrepreneurship due to economic circumstances. What's so interesting about these three types of entrepreneurs out there is that so many of them don't really enter entrepreneurship with any kind of formal education on how to start, manage, and grow a business. Quite often, the biggest challenge is that they identify themselves as their trade or via their specific skill, and they don't have the expertise or skill sets in business management, finance, marketing, all of the other components that it takes to really start and run a successful business. So I asked myself, what can we do? And this should be the question of the day. What can we do to make entrepreneurship accessible? How can we provide potential and existing business owners with the skills that they need to be smart, to make smart business decisions, and also turn all of them into intentional entrepreneurs, people who are actively identifying themselves as an entrepreneur, a business owner, who are aggressively out there to start, manage, and launch a successful business. In looking at that, what I've seen over my years is that from inception to exit, people face different challenges. And the key is, are you going to be there to provide a solution or guidance when they're experiencing those challenges? And how do we do that? In looking at that, where I feel that we could be of great assistance, and I know there are a lot of different models out there, is to use technology to help startups through their life cycle in a virtual business incubator model. Having the ability for a business owner or potential business owner to have some place to go online, because again, many business owners out there at present have different needs. We have the single moms raising children, a lot of home-based businesses. We have veterans who are injured. How do we use technology to our advantage to help incubate businesses from the ground up? In addition to a business incubator model, I'm also a strong proponent of teaching that entrepreneurship is a viable career option. Being a daughter of business owners, I saw that growing up, but quite often many people don't look at entrepreneurship as a viable career option. From the time that I could stand, I was stocking shelves in my father's deli. When I learned numbers, I started working at the register. When I got old enough, I started making sandwiches because I could use a slicer without cutting my fingers off. So I had that privilege of understanding how a business worked. I strongly believe we should be teaching entrepreneurship from kindergarten on, teaching them the skill sets they need, or teaching them about starting a business, having an idea, growing an idea, planning for an idea, and letting that germinate. So when people get to a point in time when they're picking their career option, it's not scary, it's accessible. Starting a business is accessible. And we're in DC, so I can't go without saying that the policy side of things is also very important. The one language that all business owners speak is IRS. And when we talk to potential entrepreneurs about, wanting to start a business, their biggest fear is the tax issues, or that they're not going to be able to meet their tax liability, the regulation. And so creating a positive policy environment, a positive environment for entrepreneurs to flourish is also an important component. But again, my grand idea is the idea of trying to find a way to use technology to incubate businesses from inception to growth to exit. Thank you.
Take a few questions for Kristie.
We recently my company started a brick and mortar business incubator in West Central Ohio. Are you guys looking at opportunities to collaborate with the virtual incubators, with brick and mortar incubators?
Yeah, I mean, I know that we work quite a bit with small business development centers around the country, and a lot of them have had launched incubator programs where businesses actually sit in the small business development center and they help them along the way. A majority of the businesses we represent are home-based businesses, and they're home-based for a reason. We have a lot of mothers with young children, a lot of people that are taking care of someone sick or elderly. That brick and mortar doesn't necessarily work for them because they can't get to it. I think that the brick and mortar incubators are great fertile ground to start the virtual incubators. Take what they're doing on that one-on-one, face-to-face, and how do we extrapolate that in a virtual setting to allow it to be accessible to anybody who wants to take advantage of that.